Welcome back. Today we're talking about the most powerful subject on earth, the most powerful subject in the universe, love. God is love. Love is the strongest force the world possesses, yet it is the humblest imaginable. Gandhi, he said that. He said, "We are biologically, cognitively, physically, and spiritually wired to love, to be loved, and to belong. Our levels of self-love and self-awareness influence and impact the choices that you and I make." People ask, why is love the most powerful force on earth? Well, it's because it can motivate people to do things that they never thought was possible. It can turn an ordinary person into a hero, a silent individual into an advocate, and a small act into a world-changing event. That's love. What is the force of love? Well, it's the universal energy that inspires every positive action in the universe. And it's limitless. Every human heart craves love, making it the most powerful force in the universe. And another word that may be considered stronger or deeper than love is devotion. Devotion refers to a strong sense of commitment and loyalty to someone or something, often driven by deep affection, admiration, and love. Loving devotion. And why do humans feel love so strongly? Well, being love-struck releases high levels of dopamine in our brains. It's a chemical. It's a reward chemical. And dopamine activates this circuit, helping make love a pleasurable experience, similar to the euphoria associated with using cocaine or alcohol. But look at that. We can get it for free. And it has no harmful side effects. Love. It has all of the same ingredients. And how powerful is true love? Well, in conclusion, true love is the most powerful force. It can bring an immense amount of joy, happiness into one's life. And it's not just an emotion, it's a deep connection that exists between two people who are committed to each other. That's love. We're going to take a look at love from the biblical point of view. And I like this scripture in 1 Corinthians. We're going to look at it from the Jehovah's Witness Bible. This was the first Bible reading I gave. And it was about a year and a half before I was baptized. You can sign up to the Theocratic Ministry School at that time and give Bible reading parts. This is the first one I gave. I was only in the organization for about 6 months. And it's beautiful. Paul wrote about it. He says, "If I speak in tongues of men and of angels, but do not have love, I have become a clanging gong or a clashing cymbal. And if I have gifts of prophecy and understand all the sacred secrets and all the knowledge, and if I have all the faith so as to move mountains, but do not have love, I'm nothing. And if I give all my belongings to feed others, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but if I don't have love, it's no benefit at all." You see, love is patient. It's kind. It's not jealous. It doesn't brag, and it doesn't get puffed up. And it doesn't behave indecently. It doesn't look for its own interests. It does not become provoked. We think of in a relationship, right? That's all important. And it does not keep account of injury. It does not rejoice over unrighteousness, but rejoices with truth. And I think that's for a lot of us when we get out of the Jehovah's Witness religion and we find a new truth, a truth that explains all of these things, we can feel the love. We can. It bears all things, it believes all things, and it hopes all things, and it endures all things. So you think in a loving relationship, when your partner says, "I love you," we believe that. We believe these things within our relationship because it's built upon love. And it says we have partial knowledge, we prophesy partially, but when what is complete comes, you see, in verse 10, what is complete comes, that's Jesus, right? It says what is partial will be done away with. He says, "When I was a child, I used to speak as a child, think as a child, and reason as a child." When we think of when we were a child, we Maybe we loved a chocolate bar. We loved that. We wanted it really bad. Well, Paul says, he says, I have become a man. I have done away with the traits of a child. So you see, love takes on different meanings. In verse 12, I like this. He says, for now we see in a hazy outline, right now, by means of a metal mirror, you see. But then it will be face to face. So what is he talking about there? Today we don't see the clear picture. It's like a hazy outline. Imagine looking off a piece of tin, a metal mirror, and it reflects. It's not going to be a real good reflection. But he says when Jesus comes, it will be face to face. But then it will be face to face. He says, at present, I know partially. You see, Paul doesn't know it all. I don't know it all. But he says, but then I will know accurately. So some of these things that, let's say, are a little bit of a mystery to us, when we're reading the Bible, we can't quite understand it. I don't know. Then it will be known accurately. And he says, just as I am accurately known, now, however, these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. So for now, we might not have all the answers. It's a journey. But if we have love, that's what we need. It surpasses everything. It surpasses knowledge. Love, it's the most important ingredient in the universe, the most powerful force. Well, let's look at how powerful it is. When Jesus was on earth, he talked about love. And he said it was the greatest command in Matthew 7:34. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together, and one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question to test him. And he says, Teacher, which is the greatest command in the law? And he said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first command, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And on these two commands depend all the law and the prophets. Everything hangs under love. You see, when Jesus would break the Sabbath, if an animal was in the well, break the Sabbath and go pull the animal out of the well. Love. If someone's dying because they got in a car accident and they're bleeding all over and they're losing their blood, if you could help donate your blood to them so they could live, that would be love. Now, people don't want to talk about that. But this is what the greatest commands talk about, love. Loving our fellow humans. Loving everything around us. Love is the greatest command. Okay, moving forward, we're going to talk about love magic. Now, love magic is a type of magic that existed or currently exists in many cultures around the world as part of a folk belief, both by clergy, laity of nearly every religion. So this is a thing, love magic. And whether wider religion of given society is Christian, Muslim, Jewish, the various traditional ethnic religions or others. Historically, it is attested on the cuneiform tablets of Mesopotamia in ancient Egyptian texts and later Coptic texts. The Roman world, the Syriac texts, all over the Middle Ages, early modern periods among all Jewish groups who coexisted with these groups. As most surviving sources concern love between men and women, there is a strong heterosexual bias between discussing these sources, though there are a few examples known to concern love between both two men and two women, such as the Greek talks about. So the exact definition of what constitutes love magic can be difficult to establish and will vary from scholar to scholar, but a common theme shared by many is the use of magic to start, preserve, or break up a relationship of some type, whether for purely sexual or romantic purposes, both. The tools and methods used in this practice do not significantly differ from the way other forms of magic are practiced, and include spoken and written spells and incarnations, dolls, amulets, potions, rituals, and so forth. So love magic motifs appear in literature, art, mythologies of many cultures, though as the concept is less likely to occur in modern fiction, except in fantasy fiction like Harry Potter, and though even then is not common and may be portrayed as negative, as in the case of Voldemort's conception. So this article goes on to talk about Hellenistic love magic in the Renaissance, women in love magic, and in literature and art. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but it is a big subject, love magic. And because it's something that everyone wants, people are looking for a magic way of getting it, and for decades. Now I'm going to show you something else that's quite interesting. This is a survey kind of. What are the odds of love? This is from Psychology Today. This isn't Psychology Yesterday of magic. This is Psychology Today. It's based on numbers. Now, I found this really interesting. I'm going to blow it up here just so you guys can get an eye what I'm looking at. Now, true love is like a kick in the head. No, really, it's not just that it comes out of nowhere. It knocks you sideways, changes your life forever. It statistically is like a kick in the head. Most statistics are about things that usually happen or that most people share. Prices, salaries, IQs, and political opinions. And these qualities are called normally distributed. And if you chart them, the graph they produce is that old favorite, the bell curve. Okay, you know the bell curve, it's a big curve, eh? So love here, as everywhere, is different. True love is rare. And we can only hope to find it once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime, folks, and maybe not even then. The curve that charts love is very narrow, more like a steeple than a bell. It's called a Poisson curve, or Poisson curve. I don't know if I said that right. It's a French name. And it's named after the guy that invented it anyways. And it's a classic example. Its classic example was the chance of being kicked to death by a horse while serving in the Peruvian cavalry. So that's a chance of finding love. It's like getting hit by lightning. So the normal distribution was discovered during the 18th century when confident age of enlightenment types assumed that all people, places, and times were pretty much alike. Statistics that produced a bell curve, like say the heights of everyone on your street, or they show a clear average with plenty of reading within a predictable range around that average, called the standard deviation. Common qualities such as height are easy to forecast. So he's just talking about how they're making this chart. So like a bell chart goes up, a bell goes up like this, right? Well, love is a very, it's not like a bell. So here's what he found. This is the guy's name, Simeon Dennis Poisson. Though lived in a more unpredictable 19th century, he was interested in rare events, and he wanted to discover how well you could predict the chance of one such events occurring during a given lifetime. Improbable. 2 events, very improbable. 3, likely totally improbable. And 4, so improbable you can forget about it. So this is what this guy did. So years and years of work produced a formula that allows such a prediction, and Poisson's successor applied it to the chance of a given cavalry regiment suffering a death by a horse kick. So that's how they came up with that. So while the bell curve describes things that we can expect, his formula predicts things we fear or hope for, or things that, though are rare, could happen at any time. And he goes on to give other examples here. So his curve applied to finding true love charts 2 things: a chance that this rare event will happen once, twice, or thrice, 3 times in a lifetime, but also how likely it is to happen at all in a progressively more unlikely circumstances. So he found that people might not find love. That's kind of a sad thing, I think. So let's look at how you can find love. Okay, so tips for finding true love. Well, number 1, don't seek romance, look for partnership. And always be yourself. Never put on a false pretense. Because your true self is eventually going to come out, and if you spend all those years hiding who you really are, then that could waste a lot of time in your life, right? So always be yourself. Number 3, don't put too much pressure on yourself or the relationship, and take things slowly. Don't rush into everything or anything. And number 5, keep an open mind and communicate honestly. Honest communication. Spend time together doing something you both enjoy. So why can't I find true love? Someone might ask. Well, you might be single because of things like low self-esteem, unresolved trauma, or settling. Put yourself out there and stay optimistic when you position yourself to find and accept love. It's only a matter of time before it happens. So sometimes coming out of the Jehovah's Witness religion, we have a lot of unresolved trauma, and we have settling to do. So if we can get through all of that and get our head clear, then we can more likely find true love. Our experts offered 12 tips to boost your chances. You'll find love when you're not looking at it, when you're not looking for it. And go where people like the same things you like. Look up from your phone. You know, sometimes we're always on our cell phone and we're walking around. Well, put that cell phone away and just start looking around. Look at people. Get eye contact. Smile at people as they walk by. Don't seek romance, but seek partnership. Happy people attract people. So if you're happy, you're going to attract people to you. And take time to be by yourself. Understand that it's okay to be alone, and it's good for us to be alone. And then when we find a partner, we'll be happy. How do you know you truly love someone? Well, empathy and care. Genuine love involves a deep sense of empathy and care for the other person's well-being, happiness, and growth. And it goes beyond just enjoying the positive emotions they bring into your life. Now, long-term commitment love is often associated with the desire for a long-term commitment and a willingness to be together for life. And that's what marriage is. Now, how do you know if someone truly loves you? And why am I not finding love? Well, sometimes internal factors like low self-worth can make finding love a struggle and difficult. So the first step is to build our own self-esteem back up, our own confidence back up. And adopting new hobbies, taking the focus off finding love. Love, much like happiness, is often fleeting when we pursue it intently. So when we start just loving life, love the kitty cat that purrs on your lap. Take time to stop and pet the puppy. We live in a farm, so we have all these animals. And if we take time and we put our love into the animals around us, guess what? They put love back. It bounces back at us. And then pretty soon we have a whole bubble of love on our little farm or in your house. Maybe you have a pet, a cat, a dog. If you're all alone, a pet is a good place to start. And you can put a lot of love into your pet. Even fish. I watch Y-Files, so I see his fish. He loves his fish. His fish talks to him. So why do some people never find love in their life? Well, confidence, self-esteem play a vital role when it comes to love. However, many people are unable to find love because they don't think they're worthy of having it. Everyone's worthy of it. But if you don't think you're worthy of it, you're not going to find it. These types of beliefs often have roots reaching as far back as early childhood and can have a huge impact on our lives. So if we feel that way, we might have to get some counseling, especially if we came out of the religion or the cult. We might have some ideas in our head that are holding us back. We might have to dig deeper, might need some help. So what are the odds of me finding true love? Well, this is where numbers get tough. Given that we have 500 million potential soulmates, your chance of finding your true love is 1 in 10,000. So think about that. If you're in a congregation of 100 people, if you're in a circuit, you take 10 kingdom halls. I don't think kingdom halls anymore have 100 people, but 20 kingdom halls, you might not find your true partner if you're going to restrict your look to the kingdom hall. If you get out of the kingdom hall and you open up your eye, this is the problem being in these closed religions where you can only find a mate within this religion. You're not necessarily going to find true love. You're going to find people that have true love to the watchtower. You see, this is a difference. People will have undivided devotion to the watchtower, a really heavy love and devotion to the watchtower. And they confuse the watchtower. They think it's Jehovah. But the watchtower is a business. You see, folks, when you love your business that you're in, and you love peddling the magazines and peddling out those business cards so people can go to their Watchtower site and give them more donations, that's all this is. It's a business. It's a religious business. So when you step back, and if you're really looking for love, you're not going to find it by serving and chasing after these businesses, these religious businesses. And you might have to get out to find your love, because 1 in 10,000. So Monroe speculates on the consequences of such a world where a vast majority will remain alone. So these are odds, these are numbers. And how do most people find their partners? Well, according to a new study, 45% of the couples still meet either at social gatherings or through mutual friends. And only 7% meet on dating apps. So there's something to consider. So we're setting up some meetups. Joe and Fran, they have the meetups. There's also meetups on our Discord channel. You can get to know people. There's all kinds of ways of expanding your friendships out there. So why is it so hard to find a partner? Well, some real reasons include more physical and emotional risks, advances in technology, it's being harder to meet people, and shifting expectations in society. Dating opens even the most well-adjusted to uncertainty and vulnerability. So yeah, it's it's work. It's work to find your true love. I know for me, I left the Jehovah's Witness religion. I couldn't find it. I spent 28 years in a marriage in the Jehovah's Witness religion, and there was no love in it. There was no love at all in the marriage between the partners. I tried. I was searching for it, but it wasn't there. And it just wasn't the right match right from the beginning, I guess. And there was all kinds of factors involved, I felt, as a Jehovah's Witness, is that having a partner, a Jehovah's Witness partner, their devotion was to the Watchtower. Their devotion was to the elders. A situation arose in the house where we needed to have a family discussion. The other partner runs to the elders because the elders are loved more. The Watchtower is loved more than your partner. And this makes it difficult, folks, to have a true loving relationship in the Watchtower. Now, some do, some find it, but it's tougher because their love is divided to the Watchtower. Now, we're going to take a look at Saint Valentine. Saint Valentine, he's a guy that Jehovah's Witnesses really paint him as satanic, pagan. You see, everything pagan is satanic. Everything involving the Catholic Church is satanic. This all comes from Rutherford. Rutherford did this. He hated the Catholics. He hated anything to do with Catholicism. We know if we're going to accept the Bible today, we have to accept the fact that God worked through this religion, because we got this Bible through Christianity, mainly through Catholicism. We have to accept that. Now, Saint Valentine, he was a 3rd century Roman saint. And he was a clergyman. Saint Valentine was a clergyman. He was either a priest or a bishop. And he was in the Roman Empire, and he ministered to the persecuted Christians. That's what he did. We're going to take a look at a few pictures. And he was martyred, and his body was buried on February 14th, which has been observed as a feast of Saint Valentine since at least the 8th century. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but we're going to look at a few of these pictures. I want to look at this one in particular. This picture is, I'm going to move myself right off the screen here so you guys can see this. Now, there's Saint Valentine. Here's all these Christians here on the crosses. They're all being killed. And here's all these Christians. And he ministered to the faithful as they were getting killed, these Christians. And then he was killed. And there's a lion coming out. So that's Saint Valentine. Now, if you want to say that he's a bad guy, you can. I think if anybody stood up, if I was getting killed because of my belief in Jesus, and here's this guy that stood up and prayed for us, the guy's a saint, It's no wonder he got a little bit of recognition for this. He really stood up for the Christians. So Jehovah's Witnesses try to paint that as an ugly picture, but you can do the research. I'll pin this stuff in the description below. But Valentine is about love. It's about love for fellow man. That's what this time of the year is. And whether you want to, celebrating it or not, why can't we just take a moment out in time and do something special? If you're in a relationship, do something special. Show your devotion, your loving devotion toward each other. Make it a special time. It's a time of the year that we can do that. There's a lot out there on the market, chocolates and all kinds of things with hearts on them that we can make loving, and we can take advantage of that. And we don't have to, Saint Valentine, I don't consider him to be any pagan thing in my head that's going to cause me not to recognize that love should be honored every day. Love should be honored every day. But in society, we take a day out of the year and they talk about it. They make it a holiday. I think it's great. So folks, until next time, keep living your day with love. Bye for now.